children.
Guys, just as you work as a battalion, you have people who believe in the same values as you, and do this work voluntarily. I was wondering if there is something that is your opposition, because this is what we have here in Europe. We have people who help at borders, and we have people who are so-called border hunters, which means they hunt people to stop them from entering their country. They strongly believe that they're fulfilling their patriotic duty and stopping bad people, stopping criminals from entering. So I was wondering if something like this exists also in the US.
We have a somewhat similar group. We call them militia. And they are citizens who also believe they are protecting the United States. Fortunately, they are not at this point where we do our searches, so we don't come in contact with. I have seen them when I was working with those asylum groups coming across. So I don't have any personal experience with them. I've heard many horrible stories about what they do with how they lie to the migrants, but I haven't had any personal experience.
Yeah, and nor have I, thankfully. I sometimes they are projecting themselves as military people. They are wearing camouflage. They are carrying like automatic weapons. We have like these, well,
States.
U.S. Gun laws are very loose, and they're out there looking like the military, and even sometimes using the name of the military, like calling themselves veterans, something, and maybe they're not even veterans, So it's like, it's not very honorable to me. I see it as they're hunting like often women and children and people that are vulnerable, like they have drunk the Kool-Aid, as we say. They are believing this narrative of migrants are stealing jobs and they are bringing crime and stuff like that. Migrants they bring jobs to the U.S. They help the economy. They build our houses, many times, and they commit a fraction of crime compared to U.S. citizens. Look in the news. Who is going to these schools and shooting children? It's American citizens, people like with white skin are doing this, not migrants. So, but this is all part of that language, that dehumanizing language that, and fear that these politicians are using, and to make people believe in them, in their campaign, so they can get elected, and frighten them. And anyway, I could go on, but yeah, we have them also, unfortunately.
James, do you remember Petra Molnar? She wrote the book The Walls Have Eyes. She was with you
Yes,
one
I
time.
remember Petra. Yeah, she's a good friend.
Yeah, she was with you.
She said I talk too much.
We had her on the podcast. It was amazing. And she talked about when she met you and visited the memorial of Elias Alvarado. Can you maybe tell us about his case and who found him?
Yeah. Yeah, this was a very early search for my group, for the battalion. I believe it was in 2020 when we first started. We had teamed up with another group called the Armadillos, and they're from San Diego, and I'm still in contact with them, and we hiked 15 miles that day, in one day, and we found several locations. It was north of here, And we were almost finished for the day. We had 1 mile to go, and we were almost to the trucks, and people are tired, and they start to follow each other and start talking. And I said, listen, keep searching, keep looking. I know we're almost done, but you never know. You never know. So spread out, keep looking. And right after I said that, this man from the Armadillos, he said, Jaime, they call me Jaime. He said, there's a body over here. And yeah, this was a man who died. He was communicating with his wife, and I apologize, I don't remember the specific country right now, Central America, in the summer of 2020, and she lost contact with him. He wasn't communicating anymore, and he died in the desert. He was left behind. You could see like the blisters on his feet, where the skin was gone. And yeah, he had hiked, he had traveled many miles. He had traveled many miles, like maybe 65 miles, and he was like 3 miles from the highway. You could see the trucks, and we don't know what happened to him, but it was sad. And my friend Cesar and his organization contacted his wife and communicated with him, because honestly, we don't have a lot of confidence sometimes in our government agencies for making this connection with the family and, identifying, and it's challenging. And she talked about her husband, and she said that he was desperate. They had children, and he needed to find work and make money, and so he left his country, his family, his language, his culture to help his family, and he didn't make it. She sent a recording, I recall, of her and her son, and we went back to that location and we played. Yeah, the recording, and I remember, and yeah, we put a cross. My friend Cesar put a cross for him. So when Petra and her colleagues came, it was accessible, because it was so close to where we parked. We could go and see if the cross was still there, and it was gone, because it was by like in a wash, like we call them arroyo, and a seasonal wash. When the rain comes, and so I said, let's go walk down the wash a little ways and see if we can find the cross. And we found it. We found it. It was in some brush, and the water had come and pushed it away. So we got it out, and we went back, and I put it back in a little bit higher up. Yeah. Anyway, these are very difficult cases. The desert strips away the humanity, you see, the flesh, and we are often finding skeletal remains. I think it is like a little bit easier for us, to be honest. I'm sorry, but I think it's a little bit easier. How could we go and find like bodies like every month? Like in September in New Mexico, we found 6 separate sites with bones and identification and remains in 6 hours, with only like 7 people walking. These areas where we are searching, much of the borderland, it is an open graveyard.
I have to ask you, are you finding more dead or alive people in the desert?
Deceased. Many, many more. migrants are hiding, they're hiding, they're frightened, they're hiding. And it's very rare that we encounter somebody alive. It's very rare. And when we do, we just have to kind of assess the situation. Sometimes we have to make the decision for them. They are like not coherent, but this is very, very rare, very rare. But I will tell you that, I know our name is Search and Rescue, right? I believe when we find these remains, when we find these individuals, this is a rescue because they are disappearing very quickly. They're being scattered. They're eaten by animals. Come on. This is the reality. We are hunting, our government is hunting people, hunting human beings, and then leaving them, abandoning them, and they are eaten by animals and consumed by the environment. So when we find a person, even their bones, I believe this is a rescue. There is an opportunity there for them to be identified and go home to their family and receive a proper burial, receive some dignity.
Yeah, I would very much agree with you. We made this movie called Even After Death, which is about what is happening here in Greece when a body is being found, usually washed off the shores of the Mediterranean, and what is the process further. And we cooperated on this movie with the Last Rights Project and Missing Migrant Project, and they all strongly believe, and it is actually in their mission, that this is the last right of every person to be identified and buried, to be buried with the name, right? To not be anonymous somewhere very far away. And this is what they are trying to do, and in cooperation with many partners, to find the way to, first of all, identify people and then give the family an information, right? And they told us so many times, and as well, a coroner in Evros River, this is the north of Greece, where you can cross this very tiny land border, let's call it, but it's a river. The coroner there was telling us how precious this is for the families, that they know that they can have the closure, that the person has been identified and they know what happened to them, right?
Yeah.
So I absolutely agree with you on this issue.
Aside from this podcast, ReFOCUS as an organization is always in need of support, and we are not able to do the programming and the work we do without support from individuals like yourselves. There are many, many other grassroots organizations like ReFOCUS that have been fighting the good fight for over a decade in Greece, in the Balkans, and in other parts of Europe. We've decided to band together in a fundraising effort called Where We Rise, where all of these organizations that have been doing this really, really critical work are fighting individually to secure the funding to maintain their operations and their programming. So what we've decided to do is work together in that campaign. So the Where We Rise campaign has just kicked off, and it will run for the next 2 months. And our, I would say, not ambitious goal, but a necessary goal, is to raise 1 million euros to ensure that all of these organizations are able to continue to critically provide supports. So please find it in your heart and in your wallets to support the Where We Rise campaign, and understand that your donation doesn't support just ReFOCUS, it supports 29 other organizations. We really appreciate it. Thank you.